fact that El Paso and Juarez is the largest, closest, and most comprehensive international border in the world, naturally layers of life and cross-pollination are going to occur. In this episode, we'll explore just how some of the region's premier business families and medical pioneers come together to raise money for our neighbors that are in need of specific medical attention. We'll learn how PAT manufacturing continues to have its positive spillover impact on our economy and the role that art and music play in the collective catharsis over the August 3rd shooting. We'll explore the history of the region's oldest theater company. Join us.
Has always had a mission to empower women and to better the quality of life of our community in this binational region through different diverse programs focused on health, economic development, and social development. This is a program that my mother has dedicated her life to, and I can be a witness to how much she was. I mean, she would live it 24/7. No, sometimes when I was a young child, no, we'd be headed somewhere in the car, and if she saw a poor pregnant woman, for example, on the street, she would stop and we would change our course, and the day would absolutely change all our schedules because we were gonna go get her to a hospital, get her checked up, get her vitamins, get her, what she needed.
The event is about FMAP. It's about this organization that's so extraordinary in so many areas of life on both sides of the border, but really what you experience here is the best of living on the U.S.-Mexico border, where we help each other, where with just a little bit of help, children will perform the way they did tonight with the orchestra, which touched my heart more than, I think, music I can remember in recent days. And doctors are here who work in clinics and on both sides and helping one another. Really, life is about helping one another. And what FMAP is all about, and this event is all about, is kind of a celebration of that. It's triunfa de la vida, triumph of life.
FMAP is just, it's an institution in this area. It's just what it's done for women and for the underprivileged people of this region is hard to describe. And Mrs. De La Vega and Mrs. Delgado, from the very beginning, had this vision that they were gonna help women and they were gonna make a difference. And without question, they've done that.
Now, it is my distinct privilege to introduce you to the 2021 Honorary Chair of FMAP Gala, Dr. Jacob Heidemann.
I and the members of the clinic, all of whom several are here and joining me, are honored to present the Guadalupe de la Vega Award to the most deserving person, my friend, Olga Delgado.
Muchas gracias, Lupe, por haberme invitado a participar en este extraordinario programa que es verdaderamente un triunfo de la vida. Muchas gracias.
But I tell this story, but it was Christmas like 17 years ago, and I was pregnant, and I was having something was going wrong, and we went to Providence, and they made me wait probably like half an hour, and they said, just go to FEMAP, they'll help you there really quick. And I went there, the doctors were there, and I think I have my third daughter
thanks to the doctor that was there, and it's just the spirit of the doctors that were there on Christmas night. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and they were there, and the nurses, and it's just the spirit of Lupita Canales and my mother and my father, and it's just been Ader Margo, many people, many years making this happen. Dr. Heidemann, he has devoted himself every single month for more than 35 years, I think now, to go and operate on kids and giving them therapy, and it's just amazing.
We met the first time, and she had a plant that was up and down business-wise, and she was wanting to connect with someone close by. And you can tell me found about me from
the newspaper, and I thought, oh my God, this is really neat because you were a manufacturer, a local manufacturer, and I didn't have to go to Dallas or Oklahoma or anywhere else to offer my services. So I just knocked at your door, I remember, and
the door was open.
The door was open, but they told me Mr. Shapiro's busy right now, so I waited in the waiting room, and I thought to myself, okay, what am I gonna say? You know, I was planning and I was just gonna offer my services. I was gonna tell you, and you had a design, and I had a small.
They didn't tell me you were there.
And then they
in
told
other words,
me.
you came in.
I came on no appointment.
Right.
No appointment, nothing. So they took me through the plant, and then I saw about 60 people there, and I thought, okay, maybe he is ready. Give me some work, because I think at that time I have like 20 operators in Juarez, and it wasn't a big operation. It was a tiny, tiny little shop, and so they escorted me to your office, and I started talking to you, and then you started to tell me that you were making like 100,000 pair of jeans a week.
Right.
And that was your showroom, that means your sample room. I thought that was your manufacturing.
That was our sample room.
So it was like, oh my God. But I was not embarrassed. You made me feel very comfortable. And I told you that I was willing to work and that I had no money to invest in equipment, but that if you could lend me the equipment, that I would pay you as we went along. And you were very receptive to it. You were very kind. And I think that was my salvation in my company because
I wasn't embarrassed to give you small quantities.
no,
That you could handle.
I could handle. And you gave me all the little styles, I guess the ones that they were testing or
Right,
something,
small lots. Right.
like the Marilyn Monroe style. I
Right.
remember doing
Maryland
that.
pants, Maryland jeans.
Maryland jeans with little bows in the
Right.
back, and all these things that we learned to do with you. And you had good people that managed your production, and it was easy to work with them. And I was able to grow with you little by little, and it gave me the great opportunity to have a line that I called my bread and butter. And then I did my experimenting on my design work and my all my other ideas that I had in mind. But it was very, very helpful. I remember growing to the point where I had to put your work also in the basement of the plant that I rented another plant that I had in Juarez.
Right.
And I had to pull it out from a window, the production, and we were doing things that you can't imagine. But we got it done, and it was, I'm very grateful for that.
What if I were to tell you that absolutely everything in contemporary culture has its foundations in philosophy? Philosophy is the common thread that weaves all disciplines together. It transcends the boundaries that one may think of when we think of professions in the hard sciences, STEM, on into the liberal arts and everything in between. Statements that inspire us are rooted in philosophers' work. For example,
I changed myself, I changed the world. Gloria Anzaldúa.
Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. John Dewey.
The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates.
The first and best victory is to conquer self. Plato.
Even in movies that forge not only American culture but global culture are founded on the principles of philosophy. The great mystic Joseph Campbell's writings inspired George Lucas to write the Star Wars trilogy. That same outline was used to create The Matrix, especially in social media where images and memes seem to be the common ground that bind us all together to connect, laugh, cry, contemplate. Memes are today's philosophical statements. Our El Paso Juarez borderplex is ripened with a multitude of perspectives, cultures, familial structures that span from the Middle East, South Central America, on into the East Coast. It is the most dynamic transnational community in the world. It provides an opportunity to develop new philosophical perspectives that can very well play a role in shaping the overall way of thinking and living. Do you know what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malala Yousafzai, Wes Anderson, and Lana Del Rey have in common? They all studied philosophy. Philosophy majors go to med school, law school, and graduate school. They get jobs in hospitals, Wall Street, and Google. Employers want to hire people who can think critically, analyze, and solve problems, innovate, and change the world. That's what you'll learn to do studying philosophy at EPCC. Our philosophy students have 3 clubs to choose from: the EPCC Philosophy Club, Mindfulness Club, and Eureka. The EPCC Philosophy Club was named 2020 Community Champions by the El Paso Community Foundation for their philanthropic work with the U.S.-Mexico border community and for putting philosophy into action. Some of our accomplishments involve being featured by the American Philosophical Association blog for the unique pedagogical interventions of Professor Manuela Gomez, who was named 2022 Piper Professor of the State of Texas, one of the most prestigious teaching awards in the college level. Our professors have presented their research in India and Harvard and have also published many philosophical articles and books and have several philosophical projects. Philosophy at EPCC empowers you on the adventure of your higher educational journey into your career. Together, our collective minds will change the world, one student at a time.
as we drove through town. He'd tussle my hair, say, son, take a good look around. This is your hometown. This is your hometown. Your hometown. Your hometown. 65 tension was running high in my high school. There was a lot of fights between the black and whites. There was nothing you could do. Two cars at a light, Saturday night. In the backseat there was a gun. Words were passed in a shotgun blast. Troubled times had come to my hometown. To my hometown. To my hometown. To my hometown. Now Main Street's whitewashed windows and vacant stores. Seems like there ain't nobody who wants to come down here no more. They're closing down the textile mill across the railroad track. Foreman says these jobs are leaving boys and they ain't coming back to your hometown. To your hometown. To your hometown. To your hometown. Last night me and Kay, we laid in bed talking about getting out, packing up our bags, maybe heading south. I'm 35, I've got a boy of our own now. Last night I sat him up behind the wheel and said, son, take a good look around. This is your hometown. This is your hometown.
My name is David Mills. I'm currently with Eden Performing Arts. We're a new nonprofit organization in El Paso, but the people involved are hardly new. I've been at this for 40 plus years, and some of my colleagues for longer than that. We produce a number of different kinds of things under the umbrella, if you will, of Eden Performing Arts. We perform a Shakespeare festival called Shakespeare on the Rocks. We also have a bilingual and Spanish language theater company called Los Actores. We also do dance programming. The one that we're currently working on is called Sabateados. It's a show about folk dance focusing on pre-Hispanic, Spanish, Mexican, and Western American dance. We also do outreach into the schools. We'll take teaching artists into high schools and work with the students, into the middle schools as well. And we partner with local organizations such as the Public Library, the Museum of Art, and others to help do multidisciplinary events.
Okay. Now talk about the origins of your company. I want people to know more about how it started and what you and Hector were doing with Viva El Paso. Like, go into that.
Well, I think the roots of the company go back probably to the early 1970s when Hector and some of his friends started a Spanish language theater company called Los Pobres. That then grew and they started to do English language theater as well. Then they took over the outdoor drama at McKelligan Canyon, which began as a bicentennial project in 1976. That lasted for 2 years. That one was called El Paso del Norte. Then Hector took it over in 1978, renamed it Viva El Paso, and he did that for 25 years. I came on.
Memories.
It sure does. That was an outdoor pageant, which is part of the tradition of outdoor summer theater in the United States. But what we did at McKelligan Canyon was a little different. It was more of a dance show than anything else, very much tied to the multicultural history of this area and tied to that particular venue, which is a spectacular amphitheater. It's built into the Franklin Mountains. You've got a huge mountain backdrop. You've got the sky above you, and it's a tremendous performing space that inspired all of the artistic team to do something really special. So we did that for 25 years till 2002. Then after that, we split off and started to do other things with the public schools. We had summer programs with the major school districts where we would take elementary school kids, and we would actually do a mini version of Viva El Paso with kids from 2nd through 6th grade. That was for me, it was very, I like that a lot because you really see the progress in a child at that age. They're so young, they're so impressionable, you can see a great change in them, even in the 6-week period from the beginning of rehearsal to the final performance. The Spanish language theater component changed. As I mentioned, we started out as Teatro Los Pobres. That stopped for a few years and then we restarted as Los Actores, continuing to do bilingual theater, Spanish language theater, which I think is very important here in the Southwest because really that was the first theater here. During the pandemic, of course, that shut down almost all performing arts. So we thought it would be both fun for the dancers and good for El Paso if we could do an interesting dance video. And so we decided to shoot it downtown. It would showcase some of the architectural aspects of downtown. And we chose a piece of music, La Bamba, which captures the kind of fun and excitement of the Southwest. It's very Latin. We chose a choreographer who we'd worked with before, Enrique Avila, and he choreographed it in the Latin jazz style. And we showcased some of the iconic places in El Paso, including the Plaza Theater, the Abraham Chavez Theater, the San Jacinto Plaza, the Yellow Door piece of public art. And we had 6 young dancers who full of energy and full of excitement, and we think that they really captured kind of the soul of El Paso, if you will. We viewed it as a postcard to El Paso.